Hi, I'm Alexandra Chavez, Project Manager at Restructure Studios and this year's Women in Architecture Chair, and the Subcommittee Chair for the Profiles Video Interview Series. This year marks the 5th anniversary of the Women in Architecture Profiles Video Interview Series. What started in late 2020 has grown into a meaningful platform for women in Austin design community. Each profile adds another layer to the growing legacy and the culture of promoting, validating, and illuminating the people who surround us. This is a reminder that our stories matter, and by shaping them, we build something larger together. Over time, the series has become a space where voices are amplified and where we can see the impact women are making in shaping Austin's built environment. This year, we continue exploring the theme of inspiration. Each of the conversations asks, what inspired you to pursue a career in architecture? How did your journey begin? And what advice would you offer to young women stepping into the field? The answers were moving, diverse, and deeply personal. Together, they reveal not just why we practice architecture, but how inspiration becomes fuel for the growth, creativity, and resilience.
Hello, my name is Danielle Smith, and I am the AIA Austin Women in Architecture's 2025 Chair-elect and Studio Director at Cedar Build. The Profile series tells the stories of incredible women who make up the Austin design community. This series does not just capture the professional highlights. It also includes the anecdotes, the challenges, and the breakthroughs that live behind each person telling their story. These profiles give us the chance to share our journeys, highlight our work, and most importantly, to inspire others. We are proud to share the 2025 compilation of the AIA Austin Women in Architecture Profiles Video Interview Series. This year's collection of conversations is filled with insight, candor, and the kind of inspiration that keeps our community strong. We invite you to watch, reflect, and celebrate alongside with us. We hope that you'll feel as energized and as encouraged as we do by the women shaping Austin's future in design.
It's easy to say, but I think it's true, is just equity. And that comes both in equity in providing access and hierarchy of roles within firms and within our industry, but also equity in pay.
I really think it's that balance. I think that having a family and being while still being successful in a career is very challenging. I think that society doesn't support women's ambitions and societal expectations, and typically we're the primary caretakers, and so I think it's a challenge. And I think that mothers often want to be the best mother they can be, but they also want to really have all the success in the world in architecture. And I think that balancing the career and caretaking responsibilities is a challenge, but I've been very fortunate and very supported throughout my career, and I'm very fortunate to have a husband and partner that is my partner in life and also in my firm that supports me and is a 50-50, caretaker, and we share the company as well.
Something that I've learned about being a woman in this profession is that I think we all know the statistics that a lot of women leave the architecture field, between the age of 30 and 40. And my interpretation of that, having been in that position at one point in my career, thinking about leaving, was that, I don't think women, I don't think we suffer fools. I don't think we tolerate BS. And I think we're so busy taking care of so many different things and so many different people that when we're in a position where we feel like we're not being valued, we are like, I'm not going to spend time doing something where I am not being valued. And I feel like it's really important to be able to leave that position and go find a place where you are valued.
The work is different than the career. And being at the office 45, 50, 60, 80 hours a week doesn't make you more valuable. Life and experiences and prioritizing your health and your mental well-being and your family and making sure that everything is in balance and in equilibrium, that informs better work and more valuable work. And it also does the opposite, where if that's informing valuable work, then when you're with your family, you can be present.
The biggest challenge for me, even from when I was in architecture school, was figuring out how I could be an architect and a mom. I knew I always wanted to be a parent and have kids. And I remember going to one of the only female instructors I had in architecture school at the time, who was younger, and just saying, how can I do this? Like, how, I was about to graduate, and I said, how can we, we're expected to work these long hours in the office, and to put all this time into our careers. And I know that one day I'm going to want to have a family too.
Being in an industry that it is male dominated, it's getting better, it's getting more equilibrium, but also as a firm owner or partner, it's lonely. And if you don't have community, you don't have a support system, you don't have a net, you don't have a brain trust that you can bounce ideas off of. Community is a place to be vulnerable, it's a place that you can learn, it's a place where you can fail early and cheaply and get back up and push forward.
Community engagement is incredibly important. Architecture is political, and it's really important to advocate for the things that you care about and believe in. I think this is more important now than ever, and it's really important to not only discuss and advocate for things that you care about, but also speak with those that you agree with and those that you don't agree with.
It is extremely important to me to have some community engagement with the architecture community. I love my volunteer work with AIA Austin. It has really helped me find a lot of companionship, inspiration, and I really feel drawn to advocating for women in our community. That's one of the things that I really enjoy volunteering around. When I first joined AIA Austin, I just attended different committee meetings for a few years, and then as my commitment to volunteering with them increased, I was really drawn towards the Women in Architecture Committee. I loved serving as the chair for Women in Architecture. Those were 2 incredible years that really inspired me. And now, as I'm continuing my community volunteerism, I'm working with the JEDI committee at AIA Austin and continuing to advocate for those that just aren't seen as much in the profession. Women, minorities, anyone who doesn't have the same visibility, I believe.
I'm the type of person who is a dot connector. I like to connect dots for people. And being an architect and working in the housing industry, I feel like I get to use my talent to help people live better lives. And to me, that's just about community. Whether it's for my clients or whether it's for my friends, or just people, in the community at large, like I'm always connecting dots, helping people find resources. I love what I do. I love being an architect. I love designing housing. It's like what I'm meant to do. I love to be able to have clients that I can share my 26 years of expertise with and help them do their job better. Or help my developers I work with or builders I work with, help the process be smoother and better.
extremely important. So I have really always kind of taken to service organizations that improve the community. And part of that I feel is that growing up, I didn't always want to be home. I wanted to keep busy. I wanted to do things out and about. And so some of that is, getting involved in different community service organizations. And then once I moved into my career, I really found that personally, a lot of my family and my friends weren't connected to my career.
I think my biggest piece of advice is get licensed as quickly as you can. I see so many women who start the process and then you just get caught up with life. And I think, like I mentioned earlier with Ada, if she hadn't inspired me and kind of looped her arm around mine and said, hey, we're going to do this, I don't know how long it would have taken me to get licensed, because it is a huge, laborious process of taking exams, getting registered for everything, finding your mentor, paying, writing so many checks. And I know it's hard, but I think my biggest piece of advice would be, if you can start early and try to finish early, then that's one thing that you don't have to worry about. And because there's going to be so many other things in your life and your career that you're going to be working towards. And if you can just cross that one off the list, I'm grateful that someone helped me see that early on, and so I would love to pass that on to other women.
I hope to lead by example, and in my own practice, really sitting in the confidence, knowing what my skills and superpowers are, and listening to that and showing other women it's okay to be emotional. It is highly okay to be emotional, because if you are in tune with your emotions, that means you're in tune with your client's emotions, with your team's emotions, and you can zoom out and you can help communicate with your team. You can be a better leader. You can talk to your client to really paint the picture of what they're signing up for.
First and foremost, giving them opportunities, helping them know their value. And secondarily, I volunteer at the University of Michigan Alumni Council. So I get to go back to campus a few times a year. I do a lot of online events, both with recruiting, but also just mentoring students. There's so many women in the field right now in school, and it's really exciting to be able to help them see a way that they might be able to take their career that might not be the most traditional way as well, because there's so many ways to use an architectural education. And so it's very inspiring for me to be able to go back and talk to students.
As chair of Women in Architecture Committee in AIA Austin, I really was made it a priority of thinking about the pipeline. And so we started raising funds for women and non-binary students at the UT School of Architecture and assisting them with their academic funds. And I think this is an incredibly important way of thinking about people entering the profession, and how beyond just the architecture AIA Austin community, we need to start thinking beyond and opening doors for women entering the profession. And beyond that, we also established a mentorship program, and we paired students with a mentor, and I was paired with Alexandra Matute Blanco, who then later also we had the privilege of having her come and intern with our firm, Lemmo Architecture and Design, and that was a great experience.
I really have, in the past few years, focused some of my efforts on reframing the definition of success for myself. I find that both in our education system and in society, there is a lot of pressure and discussions around success being related to a title, being related to notoriety, pretty flashy things, and that comes true. I've felt this my entire career in architecture, where it's really portrayed that to be a successful architect, you are doing one of the huge famous buildings with a massive budget, and you have your name on the building, you're the architect of record, etc. And that is just not really the story of the majority of designers or people working in our industry. And so while that of course is one form of success, there are so many other ways. I personally am really proud that I feel like I have become successful in the industry without being a licensed architect. I also did not go to graduate school. I applied to UT graduate school 3 times and was denied 3 times. I did get into some other schools, but I didn't want to leave Austin, so I just said I'm gonna keep moving forward. And being able to move past rejections is so vital in any industry, but especially in ours. It is really easy to feel like there's one rejection or one mistake that you're a failure, and that is just not true. So I hope to be able to showcase to folks in architecture, especially women, that success comes in all kinds of forms, and redefining what that means to you both professionally and personally is something that I would really suggest pursuing and considering for yourself so that you can, feel that confidence as well.